Everyone, can you hear me and see me? Everyone, just drop a thumbs up in the chat. Everyone, just drop a thumbs up in the chat. That is like all can hear me and see me. Okay. Okay. Everyone, just drop a thumbs up in the chat so that we can start the session. Okay. Okay. Hello, Achievers. Myself, Dr. Vikram from the team MDS Achievers. Join us with just a call or WhatsApp message on these given numbers. Today, we are here for the discussion on the topic of temporomandibular joint anatomy. Firstly, we should know why we have to study. See, in the skull, there are 3 joints that are movable, but only one joint is a voluntarily movable. That is temporomandibular joint. And all the movements of the mandible are brought about by this temporomandibular joint. So, along with these muscles of mastication, that is like main muscles and also accessory muscles, the joint movements are brought. Firstly, there are only 3 pairs of synovial joints on each side of the head, and the temporal mandibular joint is the largest joint that is attached between the lower mandible and temporal bone, and other 2 joints are the synovial joints that are present between the malleus and incus and stapes. But there are other joints also in the skull. That is the joint that is present between the frontal bone, parietal bone, temporal bone, occipital bone, zygomatic bone. All these are joints. But these are different type of joints. That is, these are sutural joints. And there is no movement at all these joints. But in the synovial joints, there is a movement. And that is present with the temporomandibular joint, malleus and incus and stapes is the only joints that are present which are movable, and this is the only voluntarily movable joint, that is temporomandibular joint. And a synovial joint, that is like temporomandibular is synovial joint between the glenoid fossa of the temporal bone and mandibular condyle. Its articular surface is lined by articular cartilage rather than a hyaline cartilage. So thereby it has a much more repair capacity. And this is a basic anatomy of the temporomandibular joint, where the articular disc is present in the center, which divides the joint into 2 compartments. It is upper and lower compartment. Upper compartment is concerned with the gliding and lower is concerned with the gliding and rotatory movements. And you can see the upper compartment is made up of the glenoid fossa of the temporal bone and the upper surface of the articular disc, whereas lower compartment is made up of the lower surface of the articular disc and the condyle of the mandible. And these are the joints positioned in the rest and in the open movement. That is like you can see the joint is moving forward. Articular disc divides the joint in 2 compartments. That is, upper compartment is also called as superior disc temporal surface, whereas lower compartment is considered as an inferior disco-mandibular space. And it is divided into 2 parts. That is, upper compartment, which has loose fibers and concerned with the gliding movements, whereas lower compartment, which has tight fibers and thereby it is concerned with the rotational plus gliding movements. And disc is a concavo-convex surface. That is like, it is like concavo-convex surface in the superior surface, and in the lower, in the inferior side, it looks like a completely concave. And it has 3 bands. That is like anterior, middle, and posterior. You can see the anterior band, middle band, and posterior is called as bilaminar because it splits into 2, upper, that is superior and inferior. And these articular surfaces are subject to, that is like, see, in the temporomandibular joint, the glenoid fossa and the condyle are subject to many kind of like frictional and compressive forces. How it is going to get counterbalanced? That is like, if at all these frictional and compressive forces are going to act for a longer period of time, definitely it is going to cause an attrition of the joints. So to avoid that, the articular disc is present between, which will cause a soft tissue cushioning kind of thing between the two hard surfaces. It's like, in simple terms to understand, it is like in between two rocks, a softer material is present along with an oily kind of thing. That is like synovial fluid. So thereby the joint will not get abraded. And the ligaments of the temporomandibular joint are, the three ligaments are present. That is temporomandibular ligament, spinomandibular ligament, and stylomandibular ligament. This, by the name itself, indicates this all ligaments attachments also. Temporomandibular ligament. It is attached above the articular tubercle on the root surface of zygomatic process, and it reinforces joint capsule, and it extends downwards and backwards at an angle of 45 degrees. Actions are, it prevents the posterior displacement of the condyle. Also, it initiates the translation movement of the condyle. That is like the posterior movements which are brought by the posterior fibers of the temporalis and deep fibers of the masseter muscles are counterbalanced by the help of this temporomandibular ligaments. And spinomandibular ligament, it is normally separate from the capsule and it is present medially, that is like towards the midline. It is present starting from the sphenoid process. You can see the spino-sphenoid process and widens and attaches to the lingula of the mandibular foramen. And some that is like some fibers traverse through the medial end of the petrotympanic fissure and attach to the anterior malleolar process. This part is vestigial of the dorsal end of the Meckel's cartilage, and the relations are going to be, laterally it has a lateral pterygoid and maxillary artery and vein and oculotemporal nerve, whereas medially it is going to be chordae tympani nerve is going to be present on the medial side, that is towards the midline. And stylomandibular ligament, it is a thickened band of deep cervical fascia that stretches from the apex and adjacent stylar process. Superior attachments, that is like from the superiorly it is attached to the lateral surface stylar process, and below it is attached to the angle and adjacent of the ramus of the mandible. That is, at the ramus of the angle of the mandible, it is attached. Relations of the temporomandibular joint are, superior relations are going to be medial cranial fossa, medial meningeal vein. That is like the temporomandibular joint, whenever we are doing any kind of surgery, we need to be cautious about these factors. That is like in the inferiorly, it is going to be maxillary artery and maxillary vein, and laterally is going to be skin and fascia and parotid gland, that is like present on this. Parotid gland is present, skin and fascia, and temporal branches of facial nerve. And medially it is about by the tympanic plate which separates the joint from the internal carotid arteries and spine of the sphenoid bone, oculotemporal nerve, and middle meningeal artery. These are need to be kept in mind while we are doing any kind of open surgeries for the mandibular, temporomandibular joint, for any kind of like arthroplasty or condylectomy or any kind of condylar replacement. Also, we need to be cautious about these factors. Anteriorly, it is about lateral pterygoid and masseteric nerve, and posteriorly, it is about parotid gland, superficial temporal artery, and oculotemporal. See, without knowing these relations, if at all we are doing any kind of surgery, and if it causes a damage, definitely it is going to land up into medical emergency dental practice. So we have to be very cautious about each and every treatment. And vascular supplies, arterial supply is a lateral and medial. That is like laterally it is going to receive the superficial temporal artery, whereas medial is about maxillary artery. And venous drainage is by the plexus of surrounding lateral pterygoid, and lymphatic is by draining into upper cervical lymph nodes. Nerve supply, that is how it is going to receive the nerve, it is supplied. That is like when we are planning to open the mandible or mouth of the mouth. Definitely we have to have the nerves, right? Supply which will be controlling all the activities. That is oculotemporal branch and masseteric nerve and deep temporal nerves are the three nerves that are concerned with the nerve supply of the temporomandibular joint. And movements of the joint. That is, see, till now we have discussed about the muscles of mastication in the previous videos and also the accessory muscles and the temporomandibular joint. All these muscles will be causing the movement of the mandible at the TMJ. But what are all the movements that are going to occur and which are the causing different type of movements should be known. That is depression, that is opening of mouth is going to occur with the help of gravity and also digastric, genioid and myloid muscles. Whereas elevation, that is closing of the mouth is occurred with the help of temporalis muscle, masseter and medial pterygoid. Retraction, that is like retracting the mandible back, is brought by the posterior fibers of temporalis, deep part of the masseter, genioid and digastric muscles. Protrusion is brought by lateral pterygoid muscle assisted by medial pterygoid. And lateral movements, that is side to side movements, are brought by medial and lateral pterygoid by acting simultaneously. That is like balancing side, non-balancing side, or working or non-working side. The similar kind of like alternative type of movements will be occurring and thereby resulting in a movement of the mandible side to side. And this is one of the very important thing. See, in some other textbook it has been mentioned some other things, but we have to take the standard textbook, that is a Gray's Anatomy, because this is the book from which the key paper will be evaluated while in your examination. So definitely we have to go through the standard textbooks only, not that you are some Asha Masha books you are going to take and ask for, that is like this is the correct statement that I have studied from that. It's not going to work. We have to study and confine to standard textbooks only, because the question paper and the key paper will be set based on the standard textbooks. Now coming to the quiz, because till now we have discussed each and every topic and I want each and everyone to answer it. The upper compartment of TMJ is concerned with which kind of movement? That is gliding, rotatory, both or none. Just drop the answer in the chart, that is options you can drop. Everyone, I want each and everyone to answer. If you have any doubt, I will go back and explain you. Fast, each and everyone. Yes, it's a gliding movement. Which of the following muscle elevates the mandible? That is buccinator, lateral pterygoid, medial pterygoid, or digastric muscle. Which is the muscle that is going to elevate the mandible? That is closing of the mouth. Is caused by which muscle? Okay. It's option C, that is medial pterygoid, which is supposed to cause the closing of the mandible. So no doubts, right? If you have any doubts, please do ask. Acha, you want the movements to be explained again? Okay. See, firstly, you should know that it's like the protrusive movements, retraction movements, and elevation, nothing but a closing of the mouth, and depression means the opening of the mandible. See, you have to remember that it's like where the muscles are present, in the same direction the movement will occur. Here you can see the gravity is present down, and the supraoid and infraoid muscles are present on the downside, right? So definitely what they cause the mandible to move downward, resulting into the opening of the mouth. And elevation. Elevation is caused by the muscles that are present in the upper word. That is like muscles that are present in the upper side will be causing the movement of the mandible upward. That is like masseter, which is present in the upward, right? Temporalis muscle and medial pterygoid, which are present in the upside, which will cause the mandible to pull upward. So thereby definitely it is causing the closing of the mandible. And thereafter, the retraction, that is like, see, the posterior fibers of the temporalis muscle are completely horizontal fibers, which are attached to the coronoid process, right? So what causes them, sorry, which are attached to the mandibular joint, so thereby it will be causing the movement of the mandible completely back along with the deep muscles of the masseter and genio and digastric muscles. And protrusion, see, protrusion means it has to be present somewhere in between, that is in front of the joint. What are the joints, muscles that are present in between, sorry, in front of the joint? That is lateral pterygoid. I will choose a different color. See, lateral pterygoid is present like this, attaching to the lateral surface of the pterygoid plate, and medial pterygoid is also present like this in the front. So thereby they definitely cause a protrusion. So as they are present in the front, they will be causing the pulling kind of movement of the joint. So thereby the joint will be moved for, that is pulled forward. And the lateral movements, that is like side to side movements, are caused by simultaneous contraction of both lateral and medial pterygoid muscles. Okay. Does anyone have any other doubt? No doubts? There are two kind of things. That is like either you are well understood the topic or you're not understood the topic. What should I understand, if at all, if you don't have doubts? Okay, well understood, man. Okay, nice, nice. Okay, with this we are closing the session. Thank you for watching. There are only 3 keys of success, that is learn, revise and repeat. Join us with just a call or WhatsApp message on these given numbers. This is Dr. Vikram signing off, and always try to remember and learn in the clinical oriented manner. Okay.